Hey, what's up? So, I have not done a Raw Angles episode in a while, so I thought I would do that and just give y'all an update on what's been going on kind of behind the scenes and talk about, talk about that, but then also I have been thinking a lot about imposter syndrome. I just did the Q&A episode not too long ago, and a question that I didn't address during the Q&A session, but one that has definitely come up a lot is, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? Or like, how did you overcome it? Or how do you just not experience it or feel it? And I it's so much more popular and I guess prevalent than we realize. I feel like a lot of the time, especially when we think it's just us, it's literally not. Anyway, so yeah, update. I'm trying out this mic. First of all, I don't really know how it's going to turn out, so if this episode is buzzy in the background, I'm so sorry. I tried, I really did. I am chilling in one of my favorite spaces to be, just like on the living room floor. Whatever, it makes me feel really grounded. And I have also been working a lot, so that's been cool. That's like mainly the thing that I have been focusing on is work, because there is just too much going on in the world and in the United States for me to want to be focused on anything else, which is like good and bad. I guess that has its pros and cons, because self-care and health is a thing, and working nonstop or working just too much is not a good thing all the time. Yeah, I've been mainly focused on work and, of course, making these episodes for Unpacked Angles. This actually might be late, and that is a testament to the amount of time that work has been taking up recently. And so that sorry. I'm trying to stay consistent. I'm really trying to stay, but at the same time, it's just like I would like to sleep. I would also like to relax and not feel like I need to do anything. There's also the huge weight, I guess, of just anxiety and the collective trauma that everyone is experiencing, some more than others. And so yeah, there's just sometimes I don't feel like recording, but I do have to push through, which I do. And, that looks like the episode's coming maybe a day late or a couple days late. Usually it's just a day late, but I'm trying to get better with it. Like with recording ahead of time, that is like the major key to content creation, is creating a whole bunch of content and having that stored up in a bank, so that when you do encounter these times of feeling like tired, I guess, or not wanting to do anything, then it's just like, boom, I have something already prepared. It's already scheduled. I don't really even need to do too much work this week. But yeah, so that's like the goal that I am trying to achieve. And I do sometimes get to a point where I have episodes in the bank and stored up, but this week I did not. So it just is what it is, and I have come to accept it and give myself a little bit of grace, because we need it. I need it. But yes, so I've been focused on Unpacked Angles, but mainly my focus has been on work. So I feel like it was the last Raw Angles episode that I did, I talked about how I was looking for a job and how I experienced doing that during the pandemic, or like when the pandemic first popped off, because it's still a pandemic. We are still in the midst. And so I started working at Figma. I started working at Figma in June. So exciting. I was really pumped and ready to go. And it was just a lot going on in the month of June, in addition to starting a new job, and I had a whole bunch of mixed feelings. I was very thankful, but at the same time I was just exhausted and like, what the F is happening? Why? Well, just why? Yeah, started work, thankfully Figma is filled with tons of great people. So having to deal with all of the things that are happening externally at work has not been a huge stressor because of the people and of how the company is internally. And so I didn't feel pressured to be at 100%, even though I was just starting, which was great. And anytime something happens, and this is 2020 we're talking about, so a lot has been happening, but each time something has happened this year, people acknowledged it. Kind of the same thing with my manager too. It's just like, how are you doing today, Nanura? And I'm just like, I don't know. It's been actually really interesting to see how this actually plays out in real life versus how I have always imagined it playing out in my mind. So idealistically, we want to have a place where we work, where we can express, how we're feeling and be seen as a human being, right? At least I do. At the same time, that hadn't been my lived experience working in most of the places I worked at. And so me being honest about where I'm at mentally and emotionally was something that was new, and having that be received in a way that I was comfortable with, or not seen as something that is a hindrance, and it's like, oh, this employee is a little bit too XYZ, I don't know about her, or oh, this is a lot, like, didn't ask you for all of that, or so you're not going to be able to do your job, is that what you're saying? And I'm on a contract too, so that like builds on top of it too. It's just like, oh my gosh, how do I explain that all of this stuff is having an impact on me, but at the same time, how can I make sure that I'm doing my best work and living up to, I guess, the expectations that people who I'm working with have on me? Yeah, so I always envision that it's just like, oh yeah, I want to be honest about, where I'm at and what's happening with me and how I'm doing. But at the same time, it's just like, is that going to be a detriment to me? Is that going to get me fired? Is that going to get my contract terminated? Is that going to have or cast a negative light on me and what I can do, or how I work, or just me as a person, me as a coworker? And that's like the story I'll build up in my head, because it hasn't always been the greatest experiences that I've had working at different places, at other places in the past. However, thankfully and very strangely, but in a good way, I've been able to be honest about where I'm at, because this is an unprecedented time right now for, I think, everybody on an emotional, mental, all types of levels. And so I've been able to be honest about where I'm at. Other people around me have been honest about where they're at, and unrealistic expectations have not been placed on anybody. And so it's funny because it's just like, oh, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to need some time, or I'm going to need to take X amount of breaks today. I'm just going to need to close my computer and go to sleep. Do something that helps to fill me up and to decrease the heavy anxiety that I'm feeling today or this week. And yeah, doing that has not been an issue. Like my work hasn't been affected. And I just think that's funny, because in my head, it's counterintuitive. It's just like, oh, okay, so if you're going to take multiple breaks, like just a whole bunch of breaks, or if you're going to close your computer for like half the day and go take a nap because you're feeling super stressed and like the world is collapsing, you're not going to get any work done. But that hasn't been the case. I am performing at a level that's surprising even myself right now. And it has been a very stressful few weeks in the country itself, in the world too. But like, I live in the United States. I feel like y'all know what has been going on for the last few weeks / right now in the country. And so yeah, it's been a lot. And at the same time, I've gotten a lot done and I'm doing a lot right now. And so I don't know. It's been a great experience. I think that was the long-winded way of me saying that it has been awesome where I'm at right now. It's been like challenging, but in several good ways. I don't know. I can see and feel the growth, and that feels cool. That feels really cool. And so like now that I'm talking about like growth and things like that, I want to jump into the imposter syndrome that I wanted to address. I've had people ask me, how do you get rid of imposter syndrome, or how does that play out, or how can I not feel that anymore? And my answer is always, it's usually women that are asking me this question. And my answer is always, girl, like, what you talking about? Get rid of it. Like, what? I've never. I did not know that was possible. I have not really encountered anybody that has completely gotten rid of it. If you have, let me know and share the wealth, sis, because I can't even imagine it like just not being in my life anymore. It would be cool if it wasn't. Like, I'm not trying to keep it here for sure, but I've kind of like found a way to deal with it and to manage it. And so that's what I tell people. It's just like, it's not gone. I feel it, and I have felt it very, very much so, but it's something that you have to combat, and it like takes time. And so what I do and what I tell people I do is I'll try to look at affirmations that I have made for myself. And this has not been a common occurrence since COVID, just because of everything else that's going on. But what I've done in the past is look at affirmations. Right now, what I do is I remind myself that whatever it is that I'm feeling really anxious about, or that I'm feeling like an imposter about, that I have done it already and it has gone well. And even if this go around does not go well, at the same time, at the very least, I'm going to learn something. And so it will be fine. And as long as I learn something from it and take whatever that learning is and apply it to the next time I do whatever it is that's causing, me to feel like an imposter, then that's good. And we're set. So I don't really have to worry about anything. And I'll just have to constantly remind myself of that. But I also have people around me who remind me of that as well. And so when I first got to Figma and was doing my first research project, my starter project, I was really nervous to like start talking to users and things like that. And I just didn't know how things were going to go. And so because of that, it's just like, so much anxiety because it can go any type of way. And I didn't want it to go bad. And I hadn't, like, it's the first, if it's the first time you're doing research somewhere, like you have those like butterflies and that buildup of nervousness because it's the first time. And I was talking to my manager about this and me being nervous and having like the jitters, first time jitters. And what she told me is that it's fine. I've done this before and I have gotten results from doing it in the past. And so like I literally am able to do this. So there's no need to worry about failure, I guess, and not being able to gain anything from the research that I was doing. And she said something that I wrote on a sticky note. And if you've noticed this sticky note, I guess I will put it in the video. This sticky note that is on my aloe plant, his name is Jake. My aloe plant, Jake, has a sticky note on him that will probably forever be there until I move, and the sticky note will either still live on his pot or live somewhere else. But it says, "We're just gonna go learn." And it's a quote from my manager because that is literally what we were just gonna go do. And any type of way that the study went, any type of way that the project went, there was going to be something to learn. So there was nothing to worry about. And so I have that up there to remind myself when I'm planning research studies, especially, especially for studies that I am like doing for the first time when it comes to like different methods that I'm trying out. It's just a matter of, okay, we're just gonna go learn. And I look at that sticky note and it's like, boom, that's right. Yep. We're just gonna go learn. And so taking that and applying that to like everything else in life is the key. It's just like reminding yourself of what you know how to do, what you've done before and how things went and what you've gotten through in your past, in addition to knowing that even if it is your first time encountering whatever it is that you're coming up against, that either way, if it goes good or bad, and like let's talk about those definitions for a second, because what characterizes good and what characterizes bad, and why does it have to be that way in your mind? You know, either way it goes, anyway, whatever it is goes, you'll learn from it. And so what's important is that you take the learnings and apply them as you move forward. And so because you know you're going to learn either way, at least for me, it frees up that anxiety of, oh my gosh, what if it goes this way? Or, oh my goodness, what if it goes that way? It's just like, it can go any way and it's fine, because I'm going to take what I learn and keep pushing. So that's how I deal with imposter syndrome. I try to remind myself of what I know, keep myself grounded with different affirmations that help me specifically, like personally. And I also surround myself with people who know what I've done and who know what I'm capable of doing too, to help me remind myself when I am unable to do it for whatever reason. And that typically gets me going and like helps keep me on fire. Something that I've noticed recently, which is kind of sad, but also is lit because my work has been on point, is that because of everything that's been going on in the country, I have so many like anxieties and worries about all of this external stuff that what I'm doing at work, I'm not worried about. So my confidence level has shot up so high, because it's just like I don't have any more worries to give to work right now. Like there's too much else going on in the world and in the country that there's no more fucks to give. Like for real, that's just what it is. And it's just like, okay, so how can I harness that so that I can feel that way when the whole country's not going to shit? And so I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm working to figure that out. But yeah, that's really how I handle things and how I'm handling things right now and what's been going on. I think that's really it. I don't have too much else to say. There are some things that I definitely want to talk about in the future as far as growing and how to do that strategically, as far as growing within your profession, specifically like in UX research, because like that's where I'm at. And I don't really know if it would apply to other fields, but possibly. And so I'll probably talk about that a little later in the future in another Raw Angles episode. But that's kind of what's been going on so far behind the scenes. It's just work and trying not to lose my mind over the nonsense. So thank y'all for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button if you liked what you heard and you want to stick around for the ride. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. I post new content every other Wednesday, supposedly, allegedly, but no, usually when all is right in the world, in the universe, when the planets align. I post content every other Wednesday, and I have a newsletter too, so if you want to sign up for that, I send out things every couple weeks. I've been kind of trying to keep the whole atmosphere as much as I can in mind when sending out my newsletters and even like sending out updates, because there's just so much going on, and it's just like I'm not trying to read a newsletter from the neuro right now. Like, did you see what just happened like in my country, or did you see what just went down in the US election? Like, girl, it's too much. Like I'm trying to read the room. So Usually the newsletter goes out every couple weeks. Sometimes we take a little break, and that's fine, but I make sure to keep you updated as far as what content has been posted since the last newsletter, and also any resources that I run into or dig up that I want to share. So yeah, you can sign up for the newsletter on the website www.unpackedangles.com. And if you are trying to hit us up on social, we're there too. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Unpacked Angles. And so that's it. That's a wrap. As always, feel free to let me know what you're doing, what you're working on, what you got going on. And until next time, y'all, deuces.